And I told you at the start of the broadcast that our top story, the most important thing we're facing, is in closing arguments yesterday, the majority of Supreme Court justices made statements that they are going to restrict free speech for the first time in United States history. They are going to restrict protest. They are going to restrict any speech that is seen as hurtful or that anyone is offended by. Now, the same thing is happening in England. They've just passed a law, I covered that last week, where if someone is offended by what you say, even if it isn't about them, you can be sued and they say you're liable. This is how they're going to shut down free speech. This is one slice of it. And I am shaken. I am shaken by the information that I just read during the break. Paul Watson, I was calling him during the break about another issue, and he said, "Why aren't you covering my story?" And I said, well, I hadn't seen it in the last hour. And when I read it, I had seen previous statements out of Cass Sunstein, the UN, the secret copyright treaty that's now public, the announcements by Internet 2, this private government/consortium, private corporate government consortium, that they are going to make you get licensed with an Internet ID to get on the web. If they claim you do anything wrong, no judge, no jury, the corporations will shut you down. This is corporate global governance, just like private corporate security guards were snatching and grabbing citizens in England, Pittsburgh, U.S., and Toronto, Canada at the G20. It's a continuity of agenda. This is so huge. I mean, I'm almost shaking over this. They're really doing this. And they launched the last worm last week and then announced that they want to take over the web to keep you safe from it when they admittedly launched it. There is a cocktail of attacks, kind of like a Tinker Toy set or Legos, where the pieces together, you can't tell what they are. When it goes together, you see it, and they admit that that's what they're doing. Now, hold on to yourselves here. Hold on to your hat. First Amendment ruling destined to kill Internet free speech, because the justices went on to say this will shut down saying mean things on the web about government, individuals, you name it. You will, this will open the door for federal laws, state laws. They couldn't pass Cyberbullying Act where it said if you hurt someone's feelings, you get hardcore hate crime jail time. They couldn't get that through. So they're legislating from the bench. Exactly what happened in the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. You know, sometimes Hitler couldn't even get the Reichstag when he first got into office to do things, so he'd just have the courts do it. Or he'd just have private security thugs come beat you up. Same thing. We've been through this before. So here's Kurt Nimmo's article, First Amendment ruling destined to kill Internet free speech. And it quotes the L.A. Times and quotes the Supreme Court justices in the case of these people going to funerals and screaming, you know, your son deserved to die, God loves it, they're dead, dragging the American flag behind him. It looks like it's staged to me. I mean, I've seen the people on TV. It looks cartoonish. And now you can really see that they take something distasteful that most people don't like, and they say, okay, well, now you have no free speech. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is so horrible and so dangerous. And the FCC's announcing they want to censor the Internet. They're announcing they want to control what you can say. They want to set up literal Soviets. Soviet means committees in your towns that are, quote, private, quasi-governmental, that then report to the government, and if they complain, your radio show, your website, your film is over. The Supreme Court already tried this year to ban a film about Hillary Clinton. I mean, this is going on. So here's that article. Please get it out to everyone. First Amendment ruling destined to kill Internet free speech. And I need Paul Watson tomorrow to do a master article. He's done this before. By master, it's like a master key that covers the 10, 15 or more key ways they're killing free speech globally. And it's the same thing. It's continuity of agenda. It's the same implementation everywhere. First Amendment ruling destined to kill Internet free speech. And the Supreme Court is saying that, quote, the justices appear to incline to set a limit on free speech when ordinary citizens are targeted with especially personal or hurtful attacks. The First Amendment says the government may restrict free speech. And it goes on here to have one justice say this will affect the Internet. Okay, so it's got all the quotes right there. We've also have the other articles that we wrote about it. Justices signal intent to dismantle First Amendment. Okay? Now, that dovetails with Obama administration pressures ISPs to censor websites. What did Lieberman say last year? He said that he wants his office to be able to tell YouTube what to take down. No judge, no jury, he's God. Well, now because they couldn't get cybersecurity through yet, they have officially asked them to give them a list of sites, terms, names, anything the government asked for them to shut down, for ISPs to shut down. I mean, this is just lawless, brazen mafia. Now, what's the new news that is so off the charts, so incredible? And I've seen previous quotes by the UN, Cass Sunstein, and Microsoft people on this subject, and it's going up on Infowars.com right now. And I've read over what Microsoft has said. I'm going to have the InfoWars headline changed a bit because it's worse than what Watson even said. Microsoft proposal opens door for government licensing to access Internet. Well, no, that's one of the cornerstones of this Internet takeover. And on the site, they have the video of Microsoft admitting it. And again, Microsoft is basically a Pentagon front. But our headline needs to be, Microsoft proposes government licensing to access Internet. And you know what I'm going to do? We did it again yesterday. AOL News, countless other news, online publications, hundreds, reported on huge explosion. And it's now everywhere. People seeing the firefighter testimonies about bombs in the buildings going off. This is huge. So I want you to, because, I mean, we've got, time is limited. We've got to use this search ability every time because you are successfully getting it done by putting it into the Google search engine over and over again. People will learn about this. The Drudge Report will probably link to it. Everybody send this to the Drudge Report, folks. Microsoft proposal opens door for government licensing to access Internet, and then it's got all the quotes, all the documents. This is what we wrote about 6, 7 years ago dealing with Internet 2. We've had their blueprint. It's now happening. And the headlines, Obama, you know, will have kill switch to shut down web. Last week, LA Times, former head of the CIA, we need to be able to shut down the web. Do you think when they set off a nuke and blame it on Al-Qaeda to take our freedoms that they're going to let us be on air? You better be downloading the show, saving the website, making discs to hand them out, to put up flyers on street corners. If they ever start really shutting the web down, which is starting to happen, you've got to intensify the on the ground. Because as they shut down free speech, people are going to seek out alternative information even more. Okay? So here's the Infowars.com headline on the same story. Get this out to everyone. Microsoft proposes government licensing Internet access. Microsoft proposes government licensing Internet access. And the search term will be government licensing Internet. Now, it's a long words, but just type it into Google and then sit there and hit enter over and over again, you know, re-entering it in the search box. All you got to do is put your cursor in the middle, hit enter again so that it sees it as a new search, and just enter it in there a good 100 times or so. Do it on Yahoo, but also take this article, send it to all radio talk show hosts in your area. We can get grassroots media that isn't totally controlled to cover this. But we need a master article, maybe even today by Watson, that just boils down all the different ways. The way, how the globalists are killing the Internet. The Internet is being murdered now. This is an ongoing crime in action. They are now coming out in the open. They're moving. It's happening now. Government licensing Internet. Government licensing Internet. Your name, tracking everything you do. That's what cybersecurity does. It puts software on all new computers and through ISPs to watch everywhere you go and to block what you can get. It surveils and restricts. You already see Google lying about sites saying it's got a virus on it to try to shut them down. They tried that with the Drudge Report. They tried to claim it had a virus on it. The Democrats put out a press release. It wasn't true. So you could see how they're going to do this. You're not going to get the Drudge Report. You're not going to get Infowars.com. You're not going to get PrisonPlanet.com under this. Government proposes government licensing Internet access. Microsoft proposes government licensing Internet access. And the government's proposing it as well. So the search term is 3 words, government licensing Internet. Search those, put those 3 words in back to back, with a space in them. 3 words together, that's the search term, government licensing Internet. Government licensing Internet. And I'm going to talk about this with Andrew Napolitano and the Federal Reserve and a host of other issues when he joins us. A new proposal by a top Microsoft executive would open the door for government licensing to access the Internet, with authorities being empowered to block individual computers from connecting to the World Wide Web under the pretext of preventing malware attacks. And they're also saying if you ever download something that a company says with no proof might be copyright, your site is gone or your internet access is gone. France is already doing that. I mean, this is happening. Okay, this is happening. Last year, they tried to put tens of thousands of websites on a banned list in Australia, and Australia said, the government, this is Chinese-style censorship. They said, it's good, we're doing it. But that got beaten back narrowly, but they're back again. Look, this can and will and is happening. Go read this article. This is only one way they're calling for this, and I hope Watson adds the article about how they tried to claim the Drudge Report had this virus, and it wasn't true. And the Democrats put out that memorandum, don't go to the Drudge Report because it'll give you a virus. Total lie. This is what they're doing. This is how they're operating. This is serious. They stage the attack. They stage the crisis. Or they claim they're fighting a crisis that doesn't exist. So the search term is government licensing internet. And then, if you make this number one, which you've done in almost every case, you've done this 30-something times, twice it didn't become number one, government licensing internet. If you do this, we can really get this out front, and we are reaching so many people through these, so many new people. All right, I'm going to come back. Andrew Napolitano's coming up. And you got the Supreme Court saying they're going after free speech. I just covered that. I mean, do you see what's happening?